Okay.
I should do it. Okay, there. Thank you. Yeah.
You should all get a drink, so that it looks
A
casual.
drink?
A water at least.
No, let's go over it.
Let's just do it.
Too much can go wrong.
Yeah.
That means I can do.
Are we recording?
Yes, it is.
We're rolling, anyway. We're rolling.
Okay.
All
So,
right.
2 days of intensive work are over.
Mm-hmm.
What are you guys feeling?
Were you working intensively?
I was working the hardest. Okay.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I was going hard into the cafe, getting some salads.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, how are
Yeah.
you feeling? What are your?
This guy's definitely a hard worker. Anyway.
Yeah.
He's such a nerd.
But
He was up
he's-
till 2 o'clock or 1. I don't know what time last night in CET, taking phone calls, mentoring people.
He's like a Boeing 747 starting for a 16-hour journey without stopping.
Yeah.
Matthias got a really nice project, almost finished, right? A video.
Pretty much. Well, not to brag about myself or anything, but I believe I have some kind of instinct when something is aligned. So even though I have no experience like switching cameras, but somehow some memories kick in of watching other people, and I feel like it's hard to explain, but I feel in every single moment like what should be done here and there. And it's the same with like video editing. I'm thinking about the receiver at the other end. Some things you can give up on. If you can't make a flashy video, but you can make that up with other things. You could, as somebody told me yesterday, you could have crap stuff, but with the right editing, you can put it together and assemble a really nice finished video. You can do it, and especially with modern technology and modern techniques, you can do anything. You can fake everything, and you can also make very good genuine content. Faking as in
Papering over the cracks, is that what you mean?
Yeah. I mean, like you can artificially. Sorry, faking is not the right word. Artificially enhancing things, like the voice or all that. Like all that can be done nowadays.
Isn't that very defensive though? Do we not have really good original content out there waiting to be discovered and created in our midst with our, in our
But that's
communities?
not enough. That's it. Like the community is about a great content, but it can't compete with today's technologies, right? And what people do with high tech.
So I think there are two approaches with this.
Yeah.
One is very time consuming. If you want to have a top quality and make a video editing which is perfect on every frame, you need to spend days for a video clip of 2 minutes. It's maybe 1 week of work to make a perfect video clip. Or you can use like AI enhanced tools. You just drop your things, or use Canva, which is a bit more manual and not completely assisted. And you do something intermediate without spending a week to do it. You have a result, but there's still improvement at, for example, the transitions, or that the pictures can have a Ken Burns effect, to have a zoom in and zoom out effect when it's few seconds, that it's always moving a little bit. So there are minor things that need to be edited after. So I think 90% of the work can be done with Canvas, but you would need to give it to someone else with a more fine-tuning, like la haute couture,
So
you
it's
give a dress to do and it's not proper, you just finish a little bit.
Seamstressing, as they call it. So in other words, Canva is like creating the skeleton, and then
even
forensic
more,
structure.
maybe 80% would be usable, but and it's good because I would be discouraged to start a project knowing that I need to spend 1 week to show 2 minutes.
Exactly.
So it's very satisfying to see the project that you could do. I don't know how many hours or days you spent, but
I've been putting it off for a long time because I go off by steam. So if I have an idea about something, I want to just put it in. For example, there's a sequence where there's like a burst shot. I figured out in the end how to make a lot of photos just flash through. You know how they say that, like when your life flashes before you when you're dying. That's kind of the idea.
Really good,
That's one of the most impressive things
Yeah,
technically about your intro, I feel. The
It's
fact
really
that you
good.
mastered that in the,
And that's the thing, like the whole point of the whole channel is to satisfy those more visual visual people.
Yeah.
People don't like to read too much, but they enjoy or they like to see things come to life. So they want to know everything you say. They want to know what that really looks like. So that's the concept behind all these videos and stuff.
Yeah.
It's or you can do it either. You can either just listen to it in your car when you don't have time to sit down, or if you want some actual entertainment or something
as a creator though, how much do you want feedback and how much do you need to just move ahead, otherwise you'll never fulfill a deadline? I mean, I agree with some of your feedback, but I'm reluctant to give it because I know it will delay the project. For example, the colors on the video. You haven't seen the video yet.
Beatrice.
This is an intro video for Unification News, and it's very nice. Matthias has spent a lot of time on it, and there is some feedback there, and I agree. Like, is the color scheme right on the like the how do you say, the screensaver, the opening shot where you have the logo and all that? But actually, you can take it creatively. You can criticize everything. You can take it apart, and it'll never get done. It's like furnishing a house. Yeah.
Well, going back to when I did videos and you guys gave me feedback, I would say that as long as only one person is doing the job and corrections, we should decide, like, okay, 10% you can request to be changed, but you can't request a person to just, unless you're willing to help with that, that's a different talk, right? So I'll be like, yes, thanks, I'll take this, but no more, because it's...
Yeah, I mean, Michelle mentioned about having a different approaches. One takes a long time for perfection if you have the resources. And
to share the tasks, eventually.
But you just been a steep learning curve for you. You put a lot of work into your... But once, I would assume that after this, it's going to be a lot quicker for you to produce content because of this intensive period of learning how to use Canva and learning how to...
That's it as well. I mean, the thing about production, right? Or it's also about your setup and your environment. If you're in an environment with people, with like-minded people, and that's the only thing you have to think about, your creativity spikes.
Right.
When you start to combine it with your everyday life, and like, well, you will get some inspiration here and there, it's a lot more of a conscious effort, because there's no free flow exchange of ideas or anything like that, or anybody to criticize. Like, being here, when I see the whole setup with cameras, I feel a lot very secure, because like, wow, this is some serious stuff. But when I'm in my home thing, like, first of all, I'm in a cramped corner. I have to make do with what I have. So whatever fits into like a 1 meter width, so I have like a double makeshift, make-do desk where I can do two kinds of jobs at the same time. And it's with like very low-budget things. And that's where, when you go into a proper thing, all these things like the microphone come into account. So, I mean, you try to, as much as you can, and with the budget that you're willing to put in, you try to fine-tune everything from the voice. I used my smartphone, and it looked like it was okay. But then, like, for example, questions like, how can you make that, how can you max out on that? Is it maybe the pacing of the voice? Is it speaking louder, more even? Do you have to be in a jittery state of mind or more relaxed? Or does it have to be a little bit more,
And you're on your own, so you don't have somebody to help you with that. Whereas when we're doing it, talking together, you're naturally stimulated. You're a full-time professional at this. How do you mentor people like us who are at best part-time, amateur, or trying to get to another level but with less resources, huh?
It's my own dream is to go to a higher level and contribute to our movement image. So my work as a professional gives me professional experience with the video, with the sound, when you have to record a conference or an interview, with means at the university that they have. You saw the green screen studio, it's 150 square meter. They have a Sony camera that costs 5,000 francs each. They have teleprompter, light already installed, a permanent place with 4 different curtains. You have the white, the gray, the black, like a photographer, and the green. So here, the lucky thing is that since 5 years, and even since 2008 in the UPF office, I always bring some video gears. You remember, Beatrice, at the former office, Rue de Lausanne?
Oh, yes,
we painted with your father a wall of the office
Oh,
in
yeah, I
green
remember.
to make a green screen.
The
We just
original
decided
green
this will be the studio, the
Wow.
back of the
Yeah.
conference room.
Yeah.
And nobody complained. We were
Yeah.
5 brothers and sisters to paint the wall in green. And but here, this is 2 times 35 square meter. You could see this during the weekend when you have an inspiring place available with some equipment that you can play with and someone who assists you. Then you can go further than if you are alone. It's more inspiring to be among you. And me alone, I feel I'm creative person, I think, but I need the input of others, especially for projects connected to the church, because it's so subjective, our perception, that like now you show the OBD project or your clip, video clip, and for me, it's something I would not have been able to do, but I would have loved to participate to the chain of production, to add something there of my contribution. So I think it's really a win-win time that we had, and I hope you can build such a studio in Ireland, in the Unity House. I heard there is a underground basement
Bunker.
that could become like what we see here.
Yeah.
And when you need to move to make it a studio, you just take the camera from the shelves, and in 30 minutes you're ready to film.
That's the important thing set up. And there's actually a quote to back up, but it's just now what you said. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, you go together.
Very good.
Okay.
The give and take is just you can't underestimate it, because what you produce alone and what you sometimes I get so not motivated, so depressed about like we don't have equipment, we don't have ideas, we don't have people, because we're all even though we're in Ireland, we're spread around. And then we meet for our weekly meeting, and and I don't want to go there either, but I push myself because that's our commitment, and that's where the motivation grows from, and it just starts going.
I wanted to say that there is a balanced or equilibrium or kind of an alchemy that worked here, because this office is not paid by UPF. In terms of organization, it's Family Federation Switzerland who pays for the rent here, which is about 1,000 Swiss francs a month, 1,200. But the main user is UPF, is me. We have 6 sets of keys. UPF has 2, Family Federation has 3, and I have a spare key for collaboration with a technician or with a colleague, or when I interview someone, I need the help of someone. Anyway, and also YSP if you want. So alone, I could not do that without UPF, and UPF would not have also this studio, this equipment without me, because I invested around 15,000 Swiss francs into this since 5 years.
Yourself?
Yes.
15,000.
But you know, I cannot bring this at home. The television is mine, my former TV is here, the speakers I buy, but my trick is to buy everything cheaper. This normally costs 280 euro, a sender, 2 microphone wireless, Rode Wireless Go 2, and the receiver, it cost almost 300, and I had it for 170 second hand, but checked and well used. The camera that is next to you, this Lumix GH5, is normally 2,000 francs, and I had it for 800 francs instead of 2,000.
Yeah.
So we have to be smart to gather content. I think Tinko has a lot of equipment already, so you have all the equipment is ready.
I'm fascinated by, but that's his business, you see, and I'm fascinated by your job, and you know, we're supposed to be educators in UPF and Family Fed and the HPHC generally. That's supposed to be what we're doing, you know, if you want to look at it, step back from the strict mission of, you know, religion or faith. We're actually educators, right? So because you work in a university and they already have such facilities now, I don't know, are they typical of, I know it's a top university, but do you think universities are moving that way now with the massively online education? What do they call that?
MOOCs, massive open online classes.
Is this really an investment in the university's future? Because they can, you know, I'm studying in HJ International, and it's all online. I've never been to the campus in New York, but I will have a master's hopefully next year in peace studies, but it'll be all through this technology and everything. Do you think that it's important for us as a unification movement to have this foresight? to invest in digital.
Absolutely. I mean, it's for everybody. It is important. Even at the university level, the former rector of the university that I interviewed, that he gave a message to some international audience. He said that to absorb, like take in all the demand for higher education, you need to open for Africa only and Asia 2 campuses of 30,000 students every week for 52 weeks for 10 years. So it means that you cannot build a campus with 30,000 students every week happening in everywhere. So the MOOCs or the online course were not a curse but a blessing. Online course. Massive open online classes.
Yeah.
So we should do the same. We will reach out. You know, we have some examples of people on YouTube who are successful.
But the content is king, is it?
But the content, of course, once you want to go into more, content is the problem, I think.
Yeah.
To find
interesting,
the relevant content for us.
And
Without that, it looks like editorial content that is sponsored by an organization, and you just do the agenda of the organization. There should be some creativity, that you are not just the spokesperson of someone, but you can do some side activities that are connected to the movement. You just put in the beginning of your movie unification logo, but then you tell a story that has nothing to do, but you end with the logo, and people think, oh, they make interesting content.
Yes.
And
it's a big marketplace. It's very competitive. How do you compete in that? It's difficult.
The companies, they do that. For example, the French orange juice company Orangina, they used a lot of money, hundreds of thousands, to make funny video clips. They call this brand content marketing. They film the story of a guy who goes where he goes. It's for a hotel chain. With a helicopter, they bring a bed on the top of a mountain, and no, they carry it, people, just to feel, to have his feedback after the night. How was your night there? And he has a bed of. This is the big chain of France. They have 300,000 hotel rooms. The group, which has all the levels, Mercure, Ibis, all of that. And you don't know it's for Ibis advertisement. You see people sweating to carry a bed in the night. There's a storm. They go deep, and finally they arrive. They set the bed, and one guy can sleep inside so good, and he wakes up, and you see in the morning that the bed was next to the end of the mountain, and then he slept well, and then you see for who it is. So until 5 minutes, you don't know for who is the movie, but you remember it is Ibis Hotel. So we have to find some nice, funny story at the end. It is also unification. It's also this. Unification is
humor. Actually, I can testify. I've been a beneficiary of online courses myself in Africa. I had access to American platforms, which otherwise I wouldn't have been able to access. What else was there? Yeah, I mean, we basically are trying to move now from the way we used to spread our message, which we're currently it's still somewhere there in the noughties, like the 2000s, 2010s, and even some old school methods. Tyler Hendricks style, which is good in its own right, but it's not something I'll be comfortable sharing with you.
It's pre-social media, basically.
It's pre-social media.
It's cutting edge for its time, but it's
things move very fast, and we have to catch up. Also, we have a new generation of unificationists who need something they can show, because otherwise, they're also gonna be a little bit stuck, and they can't.
We're competing for eyeballs.
Yeah, basically.
Forget about the hearts and minds. You need to get the eyeballs first.
Yes.
Otherwise, the eyeballs.
Viewers, basically.
Okay.
Our own community members will not watch our own content because it's not good enough. That's the reality. That's the competition. That's what we're dealing with.
And as an example of what makes good content, I'm very sensitive to cringe. I cannot for the life of me, you couldn't pay me enough to sit
You know
in a
what
room
cringe is?
and experience cringe.
Cringe.
Like,
Tell them what cringe is, en français.
it's like, no way.
Marginal.
Embarrassing.
Embarrassing. Everything feels embarrassing. Like,
Cringe.
if you,
Cringe.
for
Cringe
example, I'll be very blunt about what is cringe. If you have to tell Kyungbaes, let's just start with what we take for granted. Kyungbaes, conditions, talking about blessing. These things are actually a little cringe to speak about when you speak to the general public. When you're adults and you give them more, context to it, because for little kids there's no context. It's just only what they see.
But I just want to record a little bit from there because it's nice.
Right.
Okay.
Or like talking about the Messiah, or original sin, or as second gen you don't have any original sin anymore. This is all very cringe to speak about, and this is also why second gen withdraw from that. But if they see good content that replaces the need for them to explain themselves to other people,
Yes, yes.
then they'll go with it.
So you remove the cringiness.
Yes.
Through a video.
Yeah.
Well, through the story. We're telling stories.
There's a certain limit to it though, because like I understand that, but like look, like it's still religion, right? We're not trying to make a religion a fast food, right? It's not McDonald's to be liked by everyone and being so simple as like this.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, but it's a
niche
religion because we
lifestyle.
present it as a religion.
This,
I think.
but the spiritual life,
I
it
understand,
will be
yeah.
never easy to be explained by a kid.
Okay, but True Mother wants us to go beyond. Mother Moon wants us to go beyond that through the Women's Fed and UPF
And to
talk
make the
about
medicine less bitter.
education.
Yeah, exactly.
She wants us to have culture projects.
Yeah.
She doesn't want us to talk about ideology or not only does she not want us to talk about religion, except in the context of, WCLC work, for example, with Christian ministers, but she wants us to talk about. She doesn't want us to talk about philosophy. She doesn't want to be talking about the head stuff. She wants us to talk about the heart stuff through entertainment and cultural projects. That's what she wants us to do, I think, with UPF and with Women's Federation, to bring people together into the same room from diverse backgrounds, and then we can tell them our story about who true parents are, and for world peace, and for, the religion will be just as, like, you.
But that's the true religion, like your father was saying. It should be willing to come out there and then die for the sake of the world remaining as it is, because perfect world is a world without a religion, because it's part of everyone's life.
Exactly, yeah.
And the other thing that makes today's marketplace in videos and content are impact videos. You see, Mr. Beast, why is he so good? Apart from the visual side of things, he makes huge
Mr.
impact.
Beast. He's a guy who has 118 million followers.
He's the biggest YouTuber.
And he's doing a show, but he's like giving $500,000 to the one who wins a competition that he invents in a swimming pool somewhere with a huge challenge.
Huge cash payer.
Yeah,
rewards.
also he generates so much income that there's a kind of winner of each time.
Exactly.
Video, which can be you and anybody. So it's attracting people because.
That's
The key,
entertaining.
the most attractive aspect of Mr. Beast is his generosity. He said it himself. It's like, I just like to see people happy, so I like to give money.
But he likes to see also the troubled conscience. When he locks two people in a room for 100 days and they have 500,000 if they survive there, a girl and a man.
Yeah.
And then he tempts them because they have only canned food, the viande conserve. And after 10 days he comes and he says, okay, if you pay 30,000, we give you a new fridge with fresh food until the end of the 100 days. And they say no. Then they survive 10 more days, it's becoming difficult, and then they have not a good bed, and they sleep on the sofa, and he say, okay, you can have for 30,000 a double bed, each one. And after 40, each time they come with a new temptation, and at the end they don't win 500,000 because they receive the Tesla, they prefer to buy things on the way, they better food, and finally they receive less because they could not survive just simply 100 days with basic food and sleep. They wanted to buy more things, and they say one time you can spend 50,000 and you open the box. Either you get nothing or you get a Tesla, a swimming pool, a thing, and the people they say, we take the box.
The quicker pleasures.
Yeah.
the
So
easier.
in a way, there's something that I felt also is trying to show the contrariety of human beings, maybe.
From a philosophical point of view, yeah. From your average wanton consumer, it's the thrill of watching people go so far for a bit of money. Well, I say a lot of money, but because of cash.
It's like the Sunak Peace Prize, 500,000. So.
Yeah, and it's very fast paced. It's a very stimulating video. There's a lot to take from it. And the funner ones are where he puts himself through those things. I'm gonna see if I can survive. No,
I only seen one video. Is the two people locked in a hole for 100 days.
One, right?
Only this one.
He has made so many videos. He put himself through a room for 7 days where all he sees is a white room, white everything.
Oh, I see.
He doesn't know what time it is. He doesn't know if it's day or night. The food he receives is bland and plain. And he put himself through this experiment for views, obviously. And he said his brain was looking for stimulation, and he wasn't talking to anybody. I mean, he could call out and say, like, it's enough, I'm leaving here. But yeah, he put himself through that.
There is a bell, an exit button to abort the experience.
Exactly. He brought back two of the, I think it's the same two contestants from that room to torture him, basically. So he didn't know when the meals were coming, and when the meals came through, they're all cold because he woke up, so he was sleeping funny and everything.
You said something about McDonald's before.
Yeah, I was
I
just
think
about
it's
to
a
say.
good transition for
Everybody wants to go to McDonald's.
maybe a word of the end for Beatrice, who joined us. Who had nothing much to do for learning something. She just helped
She's the
us.
test subject. She's the guinea pig.
Le mot de la fin, the word for ending to Beatrice, our young participant.
I would say it was interesting just to see how many cameras we used to just film, I think, 10 minutes videos, I think. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to know what we use and all the things we use to do that.
You want to study media in college, in university? You want to study?
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
I don't know exactly, but I know.
Are you more likely or less likely to want to pursue that career after observing us today or participating? And you did a great interview, by the way. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Are you somebody who would be? What type of creator do you think you would be? Like behind the camera or in front of the camera, or both?
Both, I think.
Both. Good for you. Good for you. Yeah.
All right.
Where there is demand, there is supply. Be the supply.
Yeah. Yeah. There's convergence, isn't there, in media today? It's not enough to be good technically. Like you need some technical knowledge, as well as some creative. There's so many opportunities actually for. In the media is it's a bad term, and I know they don't like to use it now, because it's so broad. You see. I suppose content creation might be a better, and distribution might be a better.
Content creation is the new thing.
Yeah. So it was nice to having you here, and now we are going to visit a bit outside of the office.
Come take us with the office.
So next time I'll be in Dublin probably.
Hey,
Next video.
Thank you so
Next
much.
video. Thank you.
He'll come and help set up our studio.
All right.
That's a good idea.
I'm hungry.
Because if it's somebody
That's a
else
great
coming,
idea.
then they might listen.
Give us the dates that suit you, huh?
Yeah, it recorded 29 minutes.